Welcome to The Perfect Balance, where this is the podcast where we discover your symptoms are not the problem, with your hosts, Eva Vennari, Dr. Heather Kneale, and Leslie Brown. Join us as we jump right into this episode. Welcome into The Perfect Balance, where we discover that your symptoms are not the problem. My name is Eva Vennari with the Elevate Institute, and I help folks reverse adrenal burnout.
And my name's Dr. Heather Kneale, and I'm co-founder and CEO of Global Nutritional Healing. We offer certificate programs in mineral balancing.
Excellent. And I'm Leslie Brown, founder and CEO of the Mineral Balancing Group, with a special focus on helping high-achieving men manage stress so that they can sustain peak performance.
Peak everything, man. and today's topic is really cool and how it ties in, because it's so hard to know what to expect when you're starting a mineral balancing program, and you don't know oftentimes what's ahead of you, and you think, oh my God, maybe these healings, and we'll talk about what a healing reaction is versus same thing as a healing crisis, if you've ever heard that, what those are and how that is actually successful. It's a successful milestone on your healing path that can get you. It's like my tagline is feel great in your body, and it really should say feel great in your body eventually, because we go through these stages. It does, yeah. And so let's talk about that today. What are some things that come up that are really good to inform new clients going through a program like this you might experience, so they don't go, oh, this isn't working, and then quit? Let's talk about that.
Well, it can be a number of symptoms, and it can be scary, because like you just said, Eva, that you want to feel well. So you get started on this program and then you think, oh, got more energy, but then all of a sudden you don't have that energy because it's working on X, Y, and Z, some toxic metal or some old infection you have. And so symptoms can be nausea, skin rashes, old symptoms you've had in the past. That's always a fun one. You finally get rid of something and it's like, surprise, it comes back to finish out, so to speak, to get it out of your body. So it can be a number of different things, but those are some common ones. Mood. I've also seen people's moods change. Sometimes they get super tired, or maybe a little down, or they might, or opposite. They're super hyper and they're not normally that way.
And afraid to spend the energy, thinking, oh my God, what's wrong? I'm not used to having energy.
Right. Yeah. Right. So those are some of the common ones I've seen. I mean, there's all different ones. It can really be anything. What do you see, Leslie?
Well, so much, it's you just see a lot of different things. I can share some of my own personal experience. Was that when I first started the program, I was already in bed for almost a year. Okay. And then I started the program, and then I was in bed for another 3 months. I was so tired, but there was such a different feeling from being in bed because you're dying, to having the feeling that you're in bed because your body is trying to heal. And that was one of the first lessons I needed to learn, and which I can also share with people, right? Is because if you're tired, pay attention and give your body some rest, because it's actively healing and rebuilding energy. So once I had in my mind that the healing, the divine design of the healing of the body, its ability to heal itself, was kicking into effect, it was kicking out a lot of old stuff. So it was really, really good news. And rashes on the legs. Many clients have up to 12 different infections in the head that might come out in their ears or their nose or breaking out. Those are just some examples. My favorite, what I was talking about before we got on the Zoom, was passing tapeworms. Your body wants to get rid of parasites. And a tapeworm is a classic parasite, and it can freak you out as your body's finally got the energy to be able to push all this stuff out, that you wake up in the morning, you feel a flap, and you look at your stool and go, holy cow, what was that? I know it's very descriptive, but I don't want anybody freaking out when that happens. I want you to celebrate the passing of parasites. So a lot of stuff can happen.
People don't believe me. I go for all the things that you could heal. So let's list them, right? So we've got, of course, toxic metals, heavy metals, and then nutritional imbalances that can act like toxic metals in the body. And then you have old drugs, all kinds. Doesn't like the body doesn't know if you got it off the street or from a prescription. It's a drug. Chemicals, right? Viruses. Bacteria that hide inside the virus, like there's all kinds of that. And then I always list parasites last, because parasites can't live in a minerally balanced body. People don't believe me. And they're like, oh, don't I have to do a flush or a cleanse for that? No, just let your body clear it out in its own time.
Well, that's why they're
usually
there.
That's exactly
they're opportunistic. They're opportunistic organisms. So if you're weak, or it's a happy home. And when you have those mineral imbalances and heavy metals, it's a happy home for parasites. So when you start cleaning up house, they're just like, oh no, Ethel, we gotta leave and pack up.
Yeah, and it's a different way of thinking when you're thinking about your body being able to restore all those systems, cleansing systems, healing systems, all that good stuff, when you've never encountered that before. It's kind of, we were born into a system that says, oh, you have to do this for that symptom or this for that symptom. And it takes a while to learn how your body actually is designed to heal itself. And then what all happens as a result.
It's almost exciting. And people always ask me, Eva, when am I going to start to feel better? I'm sure you guys get this one. When am I going to feel better? I don't know.
Right.
Some people, it's the day that they start taking their supplements, right? Because their energy starts to build, and they like Heather said. But when the body has enough energy to heal that first thing in priority, and you don't get to choose what it is, by the way. This is the important part. Like, we think somehow we smart people with our little brains are in charge of choosing what our body gets to heal first, second, third, fourth, and all of the anxiety around that comes with it, that says, I need to be telling my body what to heal. And oh my God, what if I did it in the wrong order? Completely goes away. Like, you can just relax and go, I'm giving my body what it needs so that it can heal. But it can be, my first healing reaction took 3 weeks. How long did it take for yours to show up?
Do
you remember?
Back, making me think here.
Yeah,
I think it was pretty quick. And to be perfectly honest, I came from the medical field. So when I started this work, the doctor I was working with kept telling me, oh, healing reactions and Heximer and all this. And I thought, what are you talking about? That is so weird. So I ignored it. So it was summer when I started. So I started the program and I got a flu. That's what I said. It was a flu. My husband's like, there's flu going around. And I'm like, I'm nauseated. I have a fever. I'm super hot. I'm sweating. And I'm like, no, that I have a flu. And I just remember my whole family's like, there are doctors, Heather, there's no flu going around. And so that was my first, aha, there is such thing as healing reactions. But I fought it because I didn't grow up that way. Never heard that. I didn't hear that until I got into this natural healing world.
So that's a really good example of a virus. And then you talked about parasites. I had a spiritual healing.
Oh, let's hear it.
My very first healing reaction was to grieve my grandmother, who had passed 7 years prior to starting on the program. She passed away in 2003. Yeah, 2003. And I can remember being at the funeral thinking, I can't seem to muster a tear. Like, I was pretty hard emotionally. And I didn't know what it was. And I was at the height of my I can't eat gluten. I can't eat dairy. I was pretty miserable for not being able to eat bread. Like, I'm Italian. You got to eat bread when you're Italian.
Got to.
And pasta, right? So all of these things were missing on my diet. I was not a happy camper anyways. And so anyway, cut to 3 weeks into my program, I'm laying in bed, or I'm sitting up in bed, whatever, getting ready to go to sleep. And all of a sudden I see my grandmother's face kind of just hover in front of me. I'm clairvoyant. So I saw her face, and all of a sudden I started to feel what I recognized was grief coming over me. And it took, now in real time, it would have taken many months, and, the process and going through all this, the whatever's the stages. I'm not an expert on grief, so I don't know, but it took me 5 minutes to filter out all of what was holding back my own healing. And it was creating such a sense of my body was tight. So as I let it go and I realized it was leaving me, there was such a relief. And I knew right away. I'm like, oh my God, that's a healing reaction. So a lot of people don't recognize the healing reaction in it. I think what we're trying to do is nail home the point that it can be anything from your own past.
Absolutely. That made me think of two things in particular. I had one client who woke her husband up at 3:30 in the morning after being on a program a couple of months, I guess. And she woke him up. She goes, honey, he goes, what? He was waking up from his sleep. All that anger I've had towards my family members for this, that, and the other thing, it's gone now. He goes, okay, honey, good thing. And he went back to sleep, poor guy. But that's an important point, because people don't realize how many minerals get leached out of their brain when they have grief, trauma, any of that stuff. And then when you remineralize, it's as if and you're stuck ruminating, going over and over, or getting hard. And once you're remineralized, all that opens up, and your brain can process, and your spirit can process as it's supposed to. I think that's a really big thing. And I had another client who ended up saying, Leslie, I didn't realize that anger was a measurement of good health. And once he let go of it, the minerals helped him do that. It was a big deal. You'd asked originally about different symptoms we'd had. So I wanted actually a client, and she had leukemia. And within days, her whole chest and up through her neck broke out in ringworm. And she ran to the doctor, who said, oh, you've got to medicate that. And then she went off the program. I said, oh my goodness, this is so exciting. You're pushing that stuff out of your body and being able to let it go. And she just couldn't get there mentally, which I think really underscores the importance of this podcast, because people need to know. What I had rashes on my legs from my ankles to my hips for almost a year, maybe 7 different kinds. But what really got me was my ears. And I had clear liquid, I had yellow liquid, I had scaly breakouts, I had pimple legs, all sorts of gross stuff. And I took my husband to the store. I said, I don't care. We've got to put some sort of drops in there. So we went to the store, and there I am with my head on the hood of the car, and he's putting in hydrogen peroxide in my ears, because I was like those puppy dogs. I was going to my ears like this. I couldn't let it go. So again, underscoring the importance of what we're sharing here is just stick with it. This is your body healing and telling all that stuff that's been there, living there rent free, to get out. Their time is over.
Yeah. I remember one of my, I had itched. I was an itcher, scratcher, itcher, and then a scratcher, one first, then the other, my whole life. And I have scars all over my arms and the front of my legs, the shins, from scratching. And then my mom would take me to the doctor at 7, 8, 9. And oh, we don't know why she's itching. I would wake up with blood under my fingernails, because I was itching in my sleep. I was scratching my skin off. And the doctor said, well, just put lotion on it. That wasn't the problem. So about 3 months in, I had a near infrared sauna panel made, which is one of the modalities that we talk about. And we'll do a whole nother podcast on those, because they're amazing. So after 3 months of daily morning and night of sitting in front of the sauna for mineral detox and to help with the circulation of the body and kill off any virus, it has multiple uses to it. I started to itch like everywhere, really bad, worse than ever before. And it was that way for 3 months. And I was like, you know what? I was just stubborn, my Italian stubborn, here, more Italian. And I was like, I'm going to go in there every morning and every night until this itching goes away. And it took another 3 months to do it. And so you have to not only be stubborn and have fortitude, but isn't that the important part of working with a practitioner, is who's been through these things and can give you the right modality to use to get through it. So yeah, it's easy to quit when you don't know what you're doing, but that's the whole point of working with somebody.
Exactly. Exactly. And we can help you. We can also help you make them to where they're not so extreme too. We can slow them down a little bit. There's things we can do and help you with that. If there's something you're just like, I've had people call me, Heather, I am miserable right now. Is there anything I can do? Yes. Let's do this, this, and this, and they're like, I feel so much better. And it's a little more mild. They get through it, and so that's what having a practitioner, it will help you to get through them, and also mentally. Because when you don't feel well, I don't know about you two, I didn't feel good most of growing up. So when you don't feel good, your decision making too can be really off. And so it's just like, as soon as you get a symptom and you're not talking to anybody, you start looking at all your products. Oh, this is what's causing the skin rash. I did that new detergent, or what did I eat yesterday? You start like analyzing all these things, it had to be, and it's not any of that. It's just getting rid of junk in your body.
Yeah.
When Eva said 6 at 7 or 8, however, you're young, scratching so much because the itching was so terrific, it just made me think about babies. So when babies are born, and sometimes they'll get a lot of skin breakouts, and then they'll scratch their faces. And so what the remedy is, people start to cut their fingernails or put little mittens on their hands, not realizing that a lot of these toxins can be passed on from at birth, from the birth mother into the children. So people ask, like, what's the best time to start this? And it's like, yesterday.
Yes.
Before you get pregnant.
Right.
Yeah.
If you can.
Yeah.
I didn't even know about it before I was pregnant, but I've had women get on the program when they are pregnant. We just do a smaller program for them.
And Heather, you work a lot with, or have worked a lot with children, right? Isn't it about 6 months of age can start?
Yeah, I work with a lot of children, or or women wanting to get pregnant. So that's what I get a lot of. Just have one. She's had quite a few miscarriages, and she got on the program. She hadn't even been on for a few days, and she got pregnant. And she did lose that one. It was only we were only 3 days on the program. So it was another couple months into the program, she got pregnant, and she kept that baby. It's adorable. His name's Dante. If I had a picture, I would show you. He is absolutely beautiful. They are so happy. They're going to work on their next one. But she had many miscarriages and PCOS, all kinds of issues. So it's really nice.
Now that's an interesting one, though. I'm so glad you brought that up, because people won't think of miscarriages as a symptom of mineral imbalances, right?
It was for me. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what it is. There's a lot of times we see on the hair test low NAK ratios or other toxicities that are really slow oxidation. That's another one that can interfere, because you don't have the energy to carry that pregnancy.
And what Heather's talking about in the NAK ratio and low oxidation, those are all measures that we look at as practitioners that identify how much energy there is. So just in simple terms, correct me if you guys have another way of saying this, but we just literally don't have enough energy to sustain life and to pour into a child, so the body will miscarry, so that'll preserve the mother's life. So these are all measurements of energy. And as soon as that's what you do, the NAK, or the energy ratio, gets to a certain point, and boom, our girls get pregnant. Love that.
That's exactly what happened with this lady. Exactly.
Yeah.
So
NAK ratio was low, went to normal. Go ahead, Eva.
I was going to say, a lot of doctors, they will try to pinpoint, this because of hypothyroidism, now you need to take something like Synthroid, and then the person will be able to get pregnant. But what's underneath that, and I think we should have another show on this, is copper toxicity, because that affects all of this.
Yeah, so copper's a big one.
We've got more to talk about, but I think we are running out of time. Any last words, any last thoughts on healing reactions and what to expect when you get started on a program?
Just keep going. That's our motto. And contact your practitioner when you have trouble.
Definitely.
That's what we're here for. Yeah.
definitely stay in touch with your practitioner, and monitor everything, every weird thing. You might not have been able to think during the day. You might have gotten in an argument during the day. You might have some weird thing happening to your body, but let us encourage you. And if we need to change your program, it might be a sign that we need to change your program. We can help you with that too. So there are a lot of things. And as you've heard probably from one of the first podcasts we've done, is that each of us and most of the practitioners have come close to losing their lives. And this is what turned us around and gave us our lives back, gave us enough energy to live and be able to speak and pour into you all today. So do stay in touch with us. That's what we're called to do, is help heal. And we love making that journey with you.
I think those are beautiful last words to end this show on. So I want to thank all of you for listening, and make sure that you put your comments below in this post, and we look forward to interacting with you. My name is Eva Vennari with the Elevate Institute, and this has been The Perfect Balance. And I want to make sure that you two have a minute to say goodbye to everybody too.
And I'm Dr. Kneale, and I'm CEO and founder of Global Nutritional Healing. And we're so happy to be able to do these talks, and hope you enjoy them.
We are so thankful. And Leslie Brown, with a focus on high achieving men who want to learn how to manage stress to be able to sustain peak performance. And as Eva said, peak everything.
Right?
And we're here to remind you that your symptoms are not the problem. See you next time.